You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Arrested Development After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Arrested Development After Show. You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry, my bad.
Hey everybody, Bing is for doing, and we are doing Arrested Development. And we are starting off, it's a comedy, so we're allowed to laugh at ourselves too, right? So this is cool. So
it's like Ron Howard clearing his throat.
Exactly, like Ron Howard clearing his throat. So anyway, hello everybody. My name's Nando Velasquez, and welcome to Arrested Development AfterBuzz show. And joining me at the end, first of all, is Cathy Kelley.
Yes, and I have to remind you that Bing is for doing.
Oh, I did say that.
Oh, you did.
I did say that.
I forgot.
But Bing is still for. We're still doing this.
It's currently still doing.
It's
so
still doing.
Good reminder, Cathy. Good.
Every moment is now, and now is going on right now. So, and next to Cathy, and Bing is for doing, next to Cathy is Roxy Striar.
I'm Roxy Striar. Bing is for doing.
Bing is for doing. And Bing is for doing next to me on my other side over here, the lovely Alina Akram.
Hi, everyone.
We are.
Everyone just met each other. So.
Yes.
No, we're all best friends forever.
Well, yeah, we are.
We're kind of dysfunctional, like the Bluth family.
Yes, in fact, we're playing up the dysfunctional right now. So anyway, we are here today, and this is our second episode for Arrested Development. We're watching these in order, and we're doing each episode as we watch them. So episode 2's name is Borderline Personalities, and this episode features George. So it features the patriarch of the family.
And we talked about that in the first after show for the first episode of the season, how each episode follows a different member of the family. And I don't know, I thought that it was going to be cool, and it's kind of disjointed for me.
I think that you have to stick with it a little bit. It's not one of those things where you can watch one episode and be like, oh, I totally understand what's going on right there. You see things and you think, why did they put that in there? Why was that weird interaction? I don't really get this. And then as we're going to go on in the season, it's all going to make sense because this show is so brilliantly written that it all ends up tying together. But I know what you mean. It's kind of confusing.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing scenes being repeated from the first episode from a slightly different angle, which is really, really cool because there's certain questions. I actually have some certain things circled that I don't know about that I'm guessing will happen later on in the season. They're being set up. That it's really going to be interesting to see once you see everything how these scenes really play out.
Are you guys having a really hard time not watching the entire season?
Yes.
Yes, I am. I want to watch it all because it gets so interesting.
Like, how do you not sit in your bed and watch for 13 straight hours?
I think that's what they intended because, I mean, since it was released on Netflix and they released the entire thing at once, that they want you to do that.
How long would it would probably only take actually like 7 hours.
Yeah, approximately.
We
15
could do that.
episodes.
I'm locking this room right now. Do you have anything to do for the next
I kind of like the fact that I haven't seen the whole thing yet. I really like the fact that I'm savoring it. Every single episode has so many inside jokes that are worth watching more than once. And yeah, and I actually don't mind going back to watch season 1 or season 2 if I hear something that says, oh wait, I'm trying to remember that episode, and I kind of go back. It's great that everything's on Netflix.
Yeah.
So that you can go back and see something if you're not familiar with it.
It's like a Netflix ad right now.
Yeah.
No, we're still Bing is for doing.
Yeah.
I binged on seasons 1 through 3 before this new season came out just to do that. So I think I'm all binged out anyway. So I don't mind taking my time with these.
I guess you have more patience than I do.
It's just tempting. You know,
it is
right
tempting.
There.
It definitely is tempting. So, but about this episode, what did you guys think of this episode in particular?
I mean, I think there are moments where we're all dying laughing. I mean, we're just sitting there. Obviously, we'll get to it, but like even the moment with the smoking and or whatever, the next couple, it's just there's so much stuff going on, and it's these little interactions that are so hysterical. I don't think I've ever seen an episode of Arrested that I didn't like. So what did I think of it? Hilarious. Pissing my pants laughing.
Sounds good.
George Sr. has always been one of my favorite characters, so I loved it automatically because He's just hilarious.
It's funny. Oscar's always been one of my favorite characters, so I love the Oscar.
We saw a lot of both of them.
Yeah. What about you, Cathy?
I mean, I liked it too. This was the first episode that I think I watched talking about like the past 3 seasons and then the first episode of this 4th season that seemed a little bit like it was hard to follow the storyline, but then, you know, I'm sure after watching it several more times, which I know I will do, it'll make more sense.
Okay, well, let's get started on this. So we're following George in this, and what happens to George after the end of season 3 when he escapes with Michael? God bless you. Yes. He escapes with Michael. He hides in Michael's boat as he's leaving with George Michael, and they decide to go back and try and rescue Lucille from the predicament she's in. So, and part of that involves George going up to Stan Sitwell.
I can't believe they got all the cast back and that Stan Sitwell was still there. Didn't you feel like it was going to be the original core? But Stan Sitwell, there he is.
You would have thought that they were going to bring new people in, but it's great that they brought even a lot of the minor characters.
Amazing. Yes. That was amazing. Sorry, keep going. So that he
down
goes
to the news
Sitwell.
reporters.
Yeah.
Like,
John
people.
Beard. Yeah, I have stuff to talk about him either for this one or for the next one. But John Beard, that's amazing that they keep bringing him back in, and there seems to be some running gag with him that we don't know about yet. But anyway, so in his conversation with Stan Sitwell, he discovers plans that turn out to be what he thinks is a monument to George W. Bush.
Valid.
That is incredibly thin and incredibly tall, like 5 miles tall. And as he says, it will never stand. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think of this whole premise?
Again, I just think that it's so witty, you know. How does somebody sit there and think, let me make a circle and have it be a bush, and then write W for wall, and have somebody think, like, it just is brilliant to me. But it's hysterical that even after Lucille explains it to him, he still refers to it as a 5 mile tall wall. It's like, and then he's like, long, damn it, I can't get it.
Yeah.
He's the best. But no, it's funny that he thinks that. And is it any better than being a 5 mile tall wall than it being a 5 mile long wall to keep out immigrants? Is that any more legitimate? I'm not sure.
I think she would like it that way.
A 5 mile tall wall?
No, a 5 mile
long wall. Well, that's what's supposed to be,
I
right?
know.
But I mean,
Right, but is that more legitimate? I don't think so. Like, is it,
only 5 miles. You mean that's it?
I just mean, like, can you imagine some bill passing here and being like, we're gonna build a 5 mile long wall and now no more immigrants? Like, that would never stand. That would not stand.
That would not stand.
That would not stand any more than the tall wall. That's all I'm saying.
What I thought was brilliant about that is I really could picture a monument to George W. Bush being something that was just flimsy and able to topple for some reason. So I think that's what was brilliant about that one.
And on the border of the United States and Mexico.
And on the border. That's exactly where they would put it. Like all the way out in the middle of the desert.
I like the actual scene with George and Sitwell and how he runs over and looks at his plans. And, of course, in the George Senior way.
Oh yeah, no, it's brilliant, and their hair pulling. Oh my
yes,
wonderful
my
hair!
beautiful hair.
Beautiful hair!
Alopecia's the best.
Alopecia.
Alpaca hair.
Poor Ed Begley Jr. having to play that for so long, but it's so awesome.
Oh, are you kidding? I do not feel bad one bit. Oh, poor him. Yes, I'm so sorry for you that you get to be on the funniest hit show ever.
Oh no.
Yeah, seriously.
You just can never show any
kidding.
hair. You could just never show any hair at all. So anyway, so we have this premise, and then George ends up meeting up with Oscar. And what I loved about this episode actually is a lot of really awesome guest stars in here. George is hanging out. Not George. Oscar ends up hanging out with Marilyn Rice Cup, who I have such a big crush on, by the way. Loved her from 24. I love 24. I love a lot of stuff that she's done, not just 24. She's done a lot of comedy too. And then John Slattery from Mad Men. So he's showing his comedic chops a little bit over there
He's
too.
done a lot of stuff too.
Yeah. And what do you think?
I love that.
Oh yeah,
Dr. Norman.
I love that, and I gotta admit, I do love Heartfire. I love the fact that Heartfire can't speak, and you keep seeing the words.
Yes,
like
and
under
how
Jen.
they turn with her, the captions. I love that.
Even when she's in the background and she's doing her own thing, they still will have the captions. Like she, you know, you're not even supposed to be focusing on her, and she's ordering something at the counter, and it just will have the captions. Again, brilliant.
Like when she was choking on a wasabi.
Yeah, exactly. It's just not the focus, but they're so consistent with her. What about Dr. Norman's girlfriend?
China Garden?
Oh,
China Garden.
love. I hope she stays with us through the whole season.
And he met her while he was in prison.
She was his pen pal.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and she's super loud and obnoxious, incredibly obnoxious.
I'm perfect for him.
She's the exact type of woman you would think would be writing someone in a jail cell.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? Speaking of loud, I don't want to say obnoxious, but speaking of comedy, I guess
Yes.
we should talk about something that's really, really near and dear to our hearts.
The creators of AFTERBUZZ, Kevin Undergaro and Marie Menounos, actually did a comedy. It is a feature film, and it was just released May 29th on iTunes and various other platforms. It's absolutely hilarious, and it has some people from Arrested Development in it. Henry Winkler.
Yeah, he narrates it, right?
He is the narrator. He is like the Ron Howard of the movie. And there are a ton of other people in it. Marie Menounos is in it. Kathy Lee Gifford. It's an amazing movie.
They just want to know the name of it now.
Adventures of Serial Buddies.
It is amazing. We've all seen it. It's incredible, really funny. We actually got to see it in theaters up in the big screen, so you guys should definitely get it on iTunes.
Yeah.
And
I've
you'll be
watched it
laughing
like
about it.
10 times.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, if you can download this on iTunes, it's really simple. You can just go over and do a search for Adventures in Serial Buddies and download it. So.
And downloading it also indirectly helps AFTERBUZZ because we give you all this free content. We don't ask for anything in return. So if you download it, that helps us keep the lights on.
You don't hear commercials from us very often, so it's only stuff that we're passionate about and stuff that we know is good.
Yes.
That
Bing is
you'll
for
like
doing.
too. That's right. We don't do commercials. Bing's for doing. So.
Sorry about that. I'm
Anyway.
always disrupting.
No, it's totally fine. So anyway, so let's talk about this whole cockamamie scheme that Oscar and George are coming up with. So they are going to buy, or George is buying land down at the border, and he's going to undercut Sam Sitwell's for the wall, so he can make all this money. But meanwhile, he's also doing a special retreat, kind of like his prison justice thing.
Well, that was to make money to fund the... Like, didn't he had to buy this land, but he didn't have enough money for it?
Can we talk logistically here for a second?
Yeah.
I was really confused when they said Stan Sitwell was making it for $200 million. George says that he can make it for $150 and then make 50 more for his family.
Well,
I didn't I was confused.
Here's what they said. He wanted to undercut. Well, first of all, Stan Sitwell thought that George wouldn't be able to undercut him at all. But if he has the land, he can undercut him for the development of the wall, but then he can gouge the government off of the price of the land because he'll sell the land to the government at a much higher price. So that's his way of undercutting Stan Sitwell, but making more money
The
than him.
Bluths can still do it for $200 million. Like, that was the lowest that Stan Sitwell could do it for, and that's the lowest that any company could do it for. But the way that they would undercut him is...
So now they're running this CEO adventure, whatever it is.
Sweat
and squeeze.
To make money as kind of a side venture.
It was money to, I guess, pay for the land because he still had to pay. He had a lot of
He had
payments
to pay a
do.
mortgage on the land.
Yeah.
Thank God for you guys, because otherwise, who would I talk to about this? I'm confused. I need AFTERBUZZ.
It is a little confusing, but it's just seeing George. And you know what's interesting about this episode? We've never really seen George do. Everything that George does is always in the past. It's stuff that Michael would always find out in the first 3 seasons of the show, that he would find out from George while he's in prison or up in the attic or whatever. This is the first time we actually get to see George scheming. And he's scheming on his brother, which is even funnier.
Yeah. This is also the first time where we see Lucille is completely behind it. Like, she is the brains of the operation.
We get to see that. They hinted at that in season 3 toward the end, but now we get to see them teaming up. And which is really, really
and
funny.
how stupid he really is.
And how stupid
or
he can
oblivious,
be.
I guess.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's so oblivious. He kept saying 5 mile tall wall. So, for example. And oh god, the ostrich, which seems to be a recurring theme. I feel like that ostrich is going to keep coming back.
Again, questions with that. What's the deal with this ostrich?
What's the payoff?
I don't get it.
Another thing that's recurring is the Sky Mall magazine type thing. Like, there's so many in-flight magazines. We saw in the first episode of this season.
Altitude from Out West magazine. Yeah.
And then there's one in this episode where George Bluth is doing marketing for the Sweat and Squeeze in an exclusive first class magazine.
Oh yeah. So it seems to be, they seem to like these airline magazines for some reason.
And license plates. Everybody's license plate is like customized to themselves, which
I didn't even notice that.
I didn't notice that one either.
Yeah, which one?
No, there are. You'll see. I don't know. I'll tell you guys later.
Oh, okay.
No, but like I don't know. I always just feel like everybody has their own. Go on IMDb trivia and you'll figure it out yourself.
Okay.
People.
All right. Well, no.
Spoiler alert.
What's great about this show is that the writers put everything has a gimmick or everything has a reason for being there. So yeah, you should never really.
Brilliant.
Yeah, you should never
There are
really.
times when, like, literally they will cut to something and I want to pause it because I know that it's only going to be about 5 seconds long and I want to read everything because you know that they put so much into every single detail.
Oh, yeah.
Like when they showed the magazine articles. I actually want to read the magazine articles, but obviously we didn't have time today.
Or even the sweat and squeeze when they were when Heartfire was on Craigslist. For the lodge, if you froze it, it was like I didn't write it down unfortunately, but I saw it was kind of like fantasy something. It was something weird. Just pause it and take a look at it. It's just a weird, interesting Craigslist ad that I don't know if it has any clues for because I'm usually looking for clues for following episodes. Yeah. So I don't know if there's any clues there, but just the website for it.
I think that this series was made for AfterBuzz since they blur out a certain search engine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
we can say Bing and
we can't say Bing because they blurred out. That's funny. That's one of the few things they blurred out. Actually.
Why do they do that? Do they just because it's funny? Or they actually can't get the rights? Like what?
They probably don't want to give them any extra money.
Money? You think so? But
that's what I would think.
What about Craigslist?
What about Craigslist? Well,
That's
you know
fair.
what? But they didn't. But looking at Google, even though it's blurred.
You said the G word.
I'm sorry. Looking at that website that they patterned it off of that company.
Yeah.
Just like with the Craigslist
Yeah.
one, you can kind of tell it's a Craigslist.
Yeah.
It's a fake Craigslist ad, but still, it's a Craigslist
Phone.
ad. So anyway. But yeah, so it was a really interesting plan, and obviously he's making $10,000, $15,000 for a cup of lemonade after he sweats the hell out of these guys.
Yeah.
So what else is there? I'm trying to think of what else in the episode.
Okay, I have a thing that I don't know. What are you guys thinking about that weird thing with the maca? And they're sitting there and they're eating the maca, and then this guy appears, and the guy's like, "The strong will become the weak, and the weak will become the strong." Real person? Just a vision? Like, what are we gonna see that?
It might be a vision because of the dirty maca,
I was thinking that it
which
Which might be
polluted with.
Yeah. It's a terrible idea of putting the maca right above the commode like that. Yes, absolutely.
Why? Why is that?
Well, Henry Winkler took a crap and just buried it, so
He
that's
does
reasonable.
not care.
He doesn't care.
But I don't know. I think that was a weird moment.
I don't think it was a vision. I think that was
You think it was
really a
real?
guy.
I think it's a real person
because
that
the
we'll
way he
see
said
later in
goodbye,
the season. Yeah.
the way he said goodbye was weird. I can't remember what he said, but he kind of like walked away.
He walked like
backwards.
he ducked into the commode almost.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I do love George's line about, "I'll take 2 tickets to Ray Romano at the casino."
Close, but not too close, or he talks to us.
I did love that.
And my favorite line in the episode, I just have to put it in there when Buster says, "But then you whisper, 'Don't pull out.'"
Yeah, and that's something that we didn't really talk about yet is George and Lucille, George Sr. and Lucille are getting a divorce. But
Well, they're
Fake
they're
divorce.
it's a
getting
fake divorce,
right.
but in the first episode we heard them, they're getting a divorce, and now we see that it's
Yeah.
faked. And I love how they're like so passionate at the beginning.
They've
and then,
reignited that flame.
yeah.
And poor Buster.
Although a year later they seem to be slacking off a little bit. They were showing them kind of like they seem to have this. They have this cycle of falling in love and then can't standing each other.
It's
and
a
then
love
Oscar
hate.
comes in. Yeah, and then Oscar comes in and then George gets jealous, which looks like it might be happening.
As he should, because Oscar and Lucille occasionally sleep with each other.
Yeah, exactly. So what I loved about that fake divorce scene too is that is a scene that I feel, I don't want to know if I should say it for predictions, but that's a scene that I feel is going to come back almost every episode.
Oh, yes.
Because it's so rich in stuff that's going on, and some stuff you just don't even like pay attention to, you ignore. Like Job is writhing in pain for some reason on the or screaming in pain on the couch for some reason.
But at the same time, they make it almost seem like he's in pain because he hears about.
because he thinks it's a divorce. But
But
that's
no.
And it'll probably
Right.
be something.
But didn't Job scream because he heard that they were having sex?
well, that's what you're meant to think. But I don't
Right.
think that's.
It
I don't
could
think
be
that's why.
in the future. I'm sure it'll be like he got hit by a car or something like that. And that's why
Okay.
he's, like,
That's how the
writhing in
show
pain.
works.
See, I'm
Yeah.
confused.
And then also theme that it seems like they're going to be using throughout the season is the maritime
Reoccurring?
law.
Maritime
Yes.
law is a big
Yes.
one, yeah.
Maritime law, and I love how there are so many things that like they have to change out the cameras on her
love
house
that.
arrest
Waterproof.
to waterproof cameras because it's a maritime law.
And the guy's walking around with a hose testing the cameras as he's putting them in, and he's wetting the camera.
But it's your crook, Captain Hook. It all ties back to that.
I had to watch this episode twice in order to fully pick up on all of it, and I think I'm gonna go back and watch a third time because at first I didn't even pick up on the maritime law, the cameras, the wet. I was like, huh? And then I was like,
Yeah.
there we go.
And
Yeah.
the fact that I think they're doing the trial in like a bar or a pub or whatever.
Yeah, it looked like a red
Oyster
snapper or
bar.
some oyster bar.
Yeah.
Totally. I don't want to miss this scene because I think this scene's awesome, and I also feel like there's something really telling. But watching Lucille smoke was probably the best scene.
Roxy almost vomed.
I couldn't look, and it went on for like a good minute 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And Buster's trying to tell the story. Do you hear it? He's like mumbling under his breath. He's like, and then I went to my therapist, and it was 6 p.m. and and like you don't even notice. But this time we had the subtitles on, and I'm reading what he's actually trying to say. You got to go back and look. He's like really trying to talk to her. And it's
Well, again, what's brilliant about this show, I definitely want to talk about how tough that must be trying to breathe in cigarette smoke for a whole, because they didn't cut in
Yeah.
that scene for a while.
It's fake smoke though.
I'm sure it's fake smoke, but he's still breathing that
Yeah.
stuff in,
Yeah.
unless it's special effects and he's not breathing
It
anything
looked like
in.
a lot of it was being breathed to the side though.
Oh, really? Oh, but still, it's just weird. But you're so busy looking at that and laughing at the whole situation that he's telling a story.
Yeah.
that's what I'm
Yes,
saying.
that
And
is the
who
best
knows?
part.
And who knows where that story comes into play? Because the way this is going, like you don't know what time it's present or past or whatever. You don't know, but you know it's going to come back.
That's
And
what you have to go look at those subtitles
Yeah.
and read what's going on because I guarantee they don't miss a thing in this. They would
Yeah.
not just throw some random thing in there.
Story.
So something's up with that. I agree.
Another thing I want to bring up, another line that I think was thrown away, and I did mention this in predictions last week about the whole twin thing, that they seem to be coming back to twin
Yeah.
things, and of course this episode had to do with George and Oscar, who were two twins. Henry Winkler said that he had a double named Stuart who took the California bar for him.
Yes.
So I feel like there's going to be another lawyer that looks exactly like Henry Winkler, who's going to be probably more coherent, probably smarter than
Yes.
him. That's going to be coming to play too.
Good
but I love that.
prediction. Love
Yeah,
that.
I know. Maybe I should save that one. And then
Or maybe that wasn't his real name, since we see a lot of like that's not my real name things, and maybe it was like blah 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 blah. I don't even know how to. I can't pronounce it right
Blah
now.
blah blah.
totally. Any
You think it was who?
Blah blah blah.
blah
Blah
blah blah.
blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
My favorite
I love
guest
that.
star
I
ever.
love that name.
Blah blah blah.
So,
I wish I could follow you.
did anyone else have anything else they wanted to bring up? Because we got to wrap this up really
Just
shortly.
the fact that I'm happy that Kristen Wiig and Seth Rogen were in it again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So happy that that's going to be reoccurring throughout the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And in case anybody was confused, because we were a little confused ourselves, that's a flashback we're seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I
whenever we
love
see them, it's a flashback.
The fake young Henry Winkler.
And who is Henry Winkler's son?
Oh, really?
That is Henry Winkler's
Wow.
son playing Henry Winkler.
Ooh, interesting fact.
I didn't even know that. That's great trivia.
That's awesome, isn't it?
I'm going to use that one. That's good bar lingo.
Totally.
Did you
He's
know
an awful
that?
lawyer.
Did you have anything else, Alina? Or
I think you guys got it.
the more you know. Exactly. So anyway, we're gonna probably wrap this up right now with some predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, who would like to go first? Anyone have anything juicy?
Do you mean for the season in general?
Well, no, maybe with George's story, because we don't know, unless you've looked ahead and you don't know exactly how many more episodes feature George. So maybe this whole situation with the sweat and squeeze and George and Oscar.
This isn't a complete prediction, and I don't know what's going to go on with George, but the only question I have is, where are the kids? Where are maybe in George Michael?
We saw them a lot in the first episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
We didn't see much of Job, though.
I mean, but at least Job's on the couch. We know where he is.
And I really want to know what's going on with Job, because there's so many little
They're
things
at
going on.
college.
Yeah.
I thought so, but then we see in this episode, I don't know whether it's this one or the next one, remember, in the house.
So your prediction is a question. Where are the
Yes.
kids? Okay, so
Where are
that's
the
your prediction.
kids?
They're around.
Where are the kids?
I predict that we will see the kids.
It is very odd, though, that just following certain people's stories, you don't necessarily see all the characters that you would normally see in every episode.
Yeah, it's
I
just-
kind of miss that because I like seeing all of them and the interaction.
Do you guys predict that we'll get to that point at some in this season.
think
so.
We'll get back there.
Well, I think that's why I really like that scene when they're talking about the divorce, because almost everybody is in that scene. Not the kids, but all the kids are. Yeah, almost. Do you have any predictions, Alina?
My prediction is that Tobias and Lindsay. Well, I can't predict this because the next episode.
No predictions.
No
No,
predictions.
I can't predict
I
this.
hold the fifth. Okay.
Because I'll reveal
Okay, no
something if I
problem.
do.
Because we did
Sorry.
see, we did say we're watching an episode and taping what we watched.
Yes.
We're watching 2.
We watched 2.
So
Yeah.
just
Which-
so everybody knows, we're watching 2 and then taping 2 every single week.
Yes.
So that's why we're not cheating too much.
Cathy, did you have one or?
My prediction is that you should probably watch the next episode. I don't
Okay.
know.
my prediction. You know what? My prediction, and I forgot to mention this too. I want to mention this. Natasha Leggero and Busy Phillips are also in there as John Beard's co-hosts.
Yes,
In
I
that
saw
one
that.
scene. And remember, Busy Phillips has a mustache, and we saw a mustache with Michael Cera. So I predict that mustache is going to be something that's going to come back for some reason. There's some story with that. And we'll find out why Natasha Leggero and Busy Phillips are there as John Beard's co-hosts in the
Please excuse
TV show.
us. We must dash. Ha 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 ha.
Okay, well,
Anyway.
well, on that note, we must dash too. So, Alina, where can we find you?
On Twitter at _ALIN823.
Okay, and where can we find you, Roxy?
At Roxy Striar.
You can find me on Twitter at Catherine Kelley.
And you can find me at Twitter at Nando Vel. And we will be, for those of you tuning in live, we'll be back really shortly. Otherwise, tune in for the next episode of AfterBuzz Arrested Development. Thanks a lot.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
you
you
later.
later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.